Let's Achieve Change is a podcast by Pamela Grove, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Pain and Movement Specialist of Metanoia Education and Wellness Center. I propose to be that advocacy channel, making you aware, bringing the public more information on health and wellness topics, especially as it pertains to chronic pain and disabilities. I would like to be that voice for those silent sufferers out there who are not able to speak for themselves. If you'd like to know more about Let's Achieve Change, please visit our website at changeachieve.com or pamelagrove.com. If you'd like to be a speaker or you know someone else who wants to be a speaker, also visit the website and leave your email information and we will be in touch with you as soon as possible. Let's Achieve Change will air every 2 to 3 weeks, bringing you various topics on health and wellness and making the public more aware of issues that are not being discussed. We thank you very much for tuning in. Hello. Thank you for joining me today on Let's Achieve Change. I'm Pamela Grove, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Pain and Movement Specialist of Metanoia Education and Wellness Center. Listen, if you want to make some changes, you have tuned into the right podcast. Now listen, don't forget to hit that notification button so that you can subscribe and you won't miss any future episodes on some changes you might want to make. Hello there. Welcome back to Let's Achieve Change. I'm Pamela Grove. Yes, I'm excited. We're continuing with autoimmune disorders. We are now in episode 5. And as I continue to mention, this subject is so vast, so we continue to share more information and bring on more guests. To date, there are about 80 reported autoimmune disorders, but there are so many other rare ones popping up. And if you have not listened to the first 2 of these series, go back and listen to those first 2 of the series of autoimmune disorders. There was 2 young ladies. One was a young lady with a mixed connective disease in addition to everything else. And there was also one who had a rare disease, Burchett. So that's worth listening to. So go back to those. Today, we're going to continue to go on to bring in another guest, Lauryn, who is just exciting young woman who is very funny, that I think her story is worth listening to. Let me just go ahead and review a little bit more about autoimmune disorders. So first of all, if you don't know what it is, basically our body's attacking healthy cells that it detects as being foreign or objects, or just lack of a better word, foreign organisms within our body. So the body attacks itself. So as a result, we start to have these disease processes forming. There's still not a lot of facts out there of what causes. There's a lot of presumptions. Some of the areas are genetics, environmental, and that could be, I mentioned before, toxicity in chemicals, or just viral or bacterial infections. Could be immune dysfunction, could be hormonal imbalance, such as when estrogen is out of whack. There's other factors, could be stress, diet, medication, and we're going to keep building on talking about stress. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. Let's just go over the 10 most prevalent ones, if people do not know these. And then, of course, I said there's so many rare ones. The first one is Graves' disease, affecting the thyroid condition of thyroid. Secondly, is RA, or rheumatoid arthritis, can affect the joints, skin, eyes, heart. We have lupus. Lupus can also affect your joints. It can affect your skin, can affect your kidneys, your brain. Then we have Crohn's disease and colitis affecting our intestinal system. MS, or multiple sclerosis, can affecting our central nervous system. So that can affect anything cognitive to physical problems, speech, etc. Then we have type 1 diabetes that we see with diagnosed with younger children, or even teenagers or young adults. When you're not producing enough, you're not able to produce insulin, so it can affect our pancreas. And then we have psoriasis, where our T cells, which are our immune cells, attacking our skin cells. Vitiligo is another skin disorder that you see. The skin pigmentation cells are affected. So you see the different blotches on the skin. We have celiac disease, when a person has allergies to gluten. And so then the small intestine is actually begin to become destroyed, and that can be deadly. And then we have alopecia areata, which is hair loss, and that we are attacking our actual hair follicles to cause the hair loss. Okay. So as I mentioned, autoimmune disorders are very becoming more and more prevalent. And we just want to still go over some of the stress implications that seems to trigger and expedite symptoms or cause a flare up. And you hear that term a lot, flare up. But what does that mean? That means when a person who has an autoimmune disorders that could be pretty much in a maybe a quiet state, and the symptoms are not as pronounced, and then the flare-ups cause them to go in more expedited and expeditious cycle with their symptoms, and the symptoms become more pronounced again. So it could be brought on by overdoing physical activities or physical exertion, but also could be brought on by stress. So today we're going to deal with more of the stress factors so we can try to promote health and promote things that we can change. Some things we cannot change. We can't change sometimes where we live or families that we were born into or our actual genetics, right? But we can start to try to improve some of our emotional triggers. So what are emotional triggers? Well, it could be a lot of things. It could be things like maybe, we start to see ourselves become more irritable or more anxious. We might become more despondent, want to disengage and remove ourselves from other people. These are signs that we are definitely experiencing emotional stress. So we want to identify that, become more aware that there's no shame in that, identifying that you are under stress. I've had to do it over and over again. Okay. And so then we need to then say to ourselves, well, how do we treat this or how do we respond to this in a positive way? Because we don't want to stay in a negative cycle. This is going to cause us to definitely be in a flare up, and it causes it to not to be able to resolve, right? So yes, so one is what promoting social network, finding good people to be around. Maybe you want to find out good events to be around. Maybe it's you actually go to some comedy events or some stimulating, music, or being around people that just are friends that you can laugh with. Right? Lauryn's going to talk about that a lot today. She's funny. Then you know what? Hey, seeking professional help. There's no shame in that game, okay? Knowing when that's wisdom, realizing that you need someone that you can vent to, because sometimes you just can't vent to anybody else, right? So yes, seeking professional help. And then, especially when you having to constantly justify your symptoms or your signs and your where you feel to other people that don't understand. So yes, having that person you can vent to. And then we're going to promote practicing good health. So mindfulness, right? So being able to, I call it debriefing, promoting spiritual edification, finding ways to meditate and build yourself up spiritually. Sometimes it just means that you need to have time by yourself to calm yourself. Being able to say no to some things, don't overwhelm yourself, and being able to know when you may have to just engage and slow down a little bit. I have to practice this often. So being able to recognize that you have to practice this mindfulness. Journaling helps with a lot of people being able to sort of write down some of their feelings, their emotions. Okay. And then, there's ways of promoting more and movement and laughter. These things promote the releasing of our healthy endorphins. Those are healthy. I call them our happy pills. Though they're internal, and we're going to release these when we do good movement and good laughter. Okay. So eating is another one. How we eat. I'm going to get into that more next time. So sleeping is one that I often have to make myself do this because I'm such a workaholic at times, right? But sleeping is important. You can't play that down. So if having to take a nap, realize that you can take a nap. There's nothing wrong with taking a nap, right? So that our body can have time to recover and restore. Okay. So I don't want to take up too much more time because I do want to have time for Lauryn to come on. Lauryn is a young lady that is going to discuss her symptoms, how they came about, and how she addresses those things. So here comes Lauryn. Hi, so I'm so excited. Today we have a guest on today. Her name is Lauryn, and Lauryn is going to be able to share her experiences. She's also very unique in that she is a young person. Lauryn, how old are you?
I'm 23.
23, yeah. So very young. So I want her to basically come on and she's going to kind of introduce herself and talk about how her disability started and what she has been diagnosed with, and then we'll go from that point on. So Laura, welcome. Go ahead and start, please.
Okay, my name is Lauryn. I was diagnosed with my first issue at, I think, 16.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm. And basically what happened was I was staying with my grandparents and I was on the ground drawing and
Okay.
writing.
Okay.
And I tried to get up
Okay.
and my elbow clicked.
Ooh.
And then I couldn't use my arm after that.
Okay.
So I went to my pediatrician. She had me go to therapy, and the therapist said that I needed to go back to my pediatrician. And so when I went back, she did an ANA test and I was positive.
Okay. And would you please let the audience know, because lots of times they don't know what these terms are. So we got to be very specific. So what's the ANA test?
So an ANA test basically means that I have higher white blood cells, which means I most likely have an autoimmune disease.
So do they do this by blood test?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And they got that result the first time they did the blood test on you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So go ahead. So they got that results. And then what happened after that?
So after that, I was sent to a rheumatologist.
Okay.
And the rheumatologist was doing testing and she could see that I was very hypermobile and that my joints came out of place really easily.
Okay.
And she could see that there was swelling and inflammation in my joints.
Okay. Now at this point, you're saying joints. So when you first experienced an episode, you say it was your elbow. So now you're at the rheumatologist and you're saying joints. So was it more than one place you was feeling inflammation at this time?
Yes, it was in almost all of my joints, especially my knees.
Okay.
But it was in all of my joints.
Now, how long had that been? Can you remember back from the time that you first had that episode when you were 16 drawing until now you're seeing the rheumatologist that she's now palpating and saying that you have all this hypermobility? How much time had expired at that point? Do you remember?
Probably about 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So were you having any progressive symptoms at this point, or was it still pretty much your elbow that was hurting?
At that point, because I had had these issues since I was really little, I didn't notice anything. I thought it was normal.
Okay.
So I didn't really notice any difference with anything. I just thought that everybody, their joints swole and they would have pain in their joints. And I just thought that was normal. It was growing pains or I never thought that it was strange. The only time I thought it was strange was when I couldn't move my arm.
So when you said that you were like, when you were little, you were experiencing swelling and pain and you thought that was normal, when would you notice it? Was it after particular, like maybe doing some type of sports or activity? When would you notice it?
After yard work.
Okay.
When I would fall.
Okay.
And when I would sit for longer periods of time.
Okay. Okay. So static positioning. Okay. All right. So not to interrupt you, I just want to make sure the audience understands a little bit more because you got a lot of information that's very pertinent. So, okay. So now we're at the rheumatologist. She's thinks that you're like hypermobile and she is definitely feeling inflammation in the different joints. So where do we go from there?
So after that, we started trying different medications and it went like that for 2 years.
And has she given you a diagnosis at that point?
No, she bounced around from different diagnoses. So one time it was migratory polyarthritis. One time it was a pain syndrome. It just kind of bounced around.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the blood work didn't show a definitive diagnosis.
And would the audience understand that? Because I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so, but she's trying you on different medications. What are some of the things she's trying you on? Do you remember that?
So she's tried me on leflutamide, hydroxychloroquine.
Okay.
She tried me on Effexor,
Okay.
but I had to stop taking Effexor because I had really bad side effects with that one. And so they thought I was going to have to get hospitalized.
What type of side effects were you having?
They could not. I had continuous fevers.
Wow.
And I got sores in my mouth. I got sores on my face.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I had my throat, all the lining in my throat came out. And so I couldn't eat anything. And so I was basically just doing liquids.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, okay. So we figure out you can't use that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. So did we finally come up with one that was working pretty good?
The mixture of leflutamide and hydroxychloroquine, it did work for a while.
Okay.
It kind of stabilized everything for a while, but in I think it was 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
I actually got diagnosed with optic neuritis because I lost the vision in my left eye and both of my eyes.
Wow. So let's talk about that. So how did that come about? What was happening with that?
So I had lost the vision in my eyes, in my left eye at 14.
Okay.
We had went to the eye doctor. Eye doctor said, hey, something's wrong. Okay. So he sent us to a specialist, an ophthalmologist that was a specialist. And she told me that I was faking it because I wanted glasses. And
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at these crazy diagnosticians. I'm gonna say it that way. I'm gonna say it nicely. Okay, go ahead.
But my parents, they knew there was something wrong because I had been running into walls. I had been falling over and I've been getting hurt.
Wow.
So they're like, they knew something was wrong. Yeah. And so a couple years later, I got the vision back in my left eye. It was significantly worse than my right eye, but I did get it back.
Okay.
And then I think it was November of 2019.
Okay.
No, November 2018.
Okay.
We went during the Thanksgiving weekend. We went to my Nana and Poppy's house.
Okay.
And I lost the vision in my left eye again.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so sorry.
Whew. Yeah. But I didn't want to tell my parents because I was so used to it. I was like, oh, this is happening again. Yeah. So I didn't tell them till we got home.
Oh, wow.
And then when we got home, I told my mom and she called the advice nurse. Okay. And the advice nurse told her to take me to the hospital.
Okay.
So I went to the hospital and they ran a whole bunch of tests. They saw that there was something wrong. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. I ended up getting sent home that day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I lost the vision in my right eye too. So I was completely blind.
Oh my gosh. Oh my poor baby. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh. You were probably about what, 17 during that time or 18?
Yeah, I was 17.
Yeah. Wow. So let's hold that for a minute. I'm gonna come back to that because I don't want to lose time because I want you to really express, because you have been going through a lot emotionally. What was happening with you as far as relationships at school, with peers? You have to have been experiencing things from the time from you was age 16 to all this time when you was losing your sight and you still was having all those mixed diagnoses with your other areas. Can you talk to us about a little bit about that?
Sure. So around the 16, 17 era, I actually had made new friends and they also have health problems like me.
Wow. Okay.
And so they were really good about pushing me to do things, even if I wanted to stay in bed, like as long as I wasn't in too much pain or too sick, they'd be like, no, we'll hang out at the house, but we'll hang out together.
That was a blessing in disguise for you.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But some of my other friends, I feel like they didn't really understand.
Yeah.
And so when I said, oh, I can't go today because I'm really sick, then they just stopped inviting me places.
Yeah.
And so it was a situation where I had to confront them about that and be like, hey, I can still do things. I just can't always do things.
Okay. And how did that go over? Did they finally understand, or you still kind of like went by the wayside with that?
Some of them I kind of had to just realize that they weren't really good friends and they weren't people I should be hanging around.
Yeah. That took a lot of growing up for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that was hard for you to come to to that term, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I commend you on that though. That took a lot to come to that realization. And I think adults still have a hard time coming to that realization. So yeah. So anyway, we did get some friends. So that I'm glad about that. So we're never going to kind of fast forward again. How about in school? Did it affect your ability to do your classwork and to advance in your schooling? Because you had not graduated from high school yet, right?
Mm-mm.
So talk about that.
So I was really lucky because my mom had homeschooled me since 5th grade.
Okay, good.
So I was still able to do my schoolwork. My teachers gave me extensions on my finals.
Okay.
And so I was able to still get all of my work done.
Okay, that's good. And so you graduated on time?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's awesome. So now that I know that you had struggles, but you overcame them, I think you had a good supportive family. Sounds like your family was very supportive and you had good friends. So that was the ones that stuck with you, I should say it that way. So here we are now. We got now problems with our vision. We still have problems with our joints. So let's fast forward it. So now take us to maybe now where do we finally ever get a diagnosis with the joints and all that? Or do we I still don't have a diagnosis for that?
So I still don't have a diagnosis for my joints. My doctor is leaning towards lupus. She's starting me on a new lupus medication. And we're going to see how that works. And if that works, then maybe I'll get a diagnosis.
What medication is that, may I ask?
It starts with an M. I'm not sure. I start it next week.
It's not meloxicam, is it?
No, no.
And it's not methotrexate?
No.
No.
I can't take methotrexate anymore.
Okay.
I had another side effect with that.
Yeah. Okay. That's a common one. People have side effects with as well. So, okay. All right. So if you get that information, please text it to me because I want to make sure it's on your report here because I do want to know what that one was for the lupus for you. So, all right. So we're not sure yet. So that's where we are now. So have you tried therapy? Has therapy helped you at all?
Yes. I've been doing physical therapy off and on for years now. It does help with my walking and my gait.
Okay.
Until the next thing with my body goes wrong. And then I have to go back to therapy to try to figure out how to work around that. But it has been helping.
So when you say something happens with your body again, you have to go around and work around that again. The audience will not understand that. What does that mean?
So like, for example, because of the shooting pain in my legs, I tend to fall over. Okay. And so I had to go to therapy to learn how to fall safely.
Okay.
And then after that, my knees were giving out. So I had to go to therapy to strengthen the muscles around my knee. And so to hopefully make it so that they didn't give out as much, like just the different problems that I have with my body. I'll go to therapy and they'll help me find ways to work around it or strengthen different parts of my body.
So basically, as different symptoms come about, they kind of go and address those different symptoms kind of thing.
Yes.
So the elbows seem to have started one of the main issues. Are you having any problems with your elbows at this point or your hands at all?
Off and on. It's a week by week basis. So each week it's like something different is going on or,
How does it affect you as far as the function of your hands? Because you see you're 23 now, so I'm quite sure you're trying to, and we'll get back to your eyesight as well, but you're trying to do something as far as a career. So what are you doing in that area? How are you advancing yourself with all your disabilities?
I'm working on college and I have applied for different jobs. So far, I haven't gotten. I've been applying for jobs since I turned 18. So far, I haven't got any job offers, but I'm trying different things. I'm thinking about starting a business.
I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, so don't let me forget. But let's go back to all the jobs you tried to apply for, because I think that, people have lack of understanding of what people with disabilities go through and think, well, they can probably just work. Why aren't they working? So talk to me about some things you tried to apply for.
So I tried to apply for what was it? Like call center jobs. And I've tried to apply for in-store jobs like at Marshall's or PetSmart, Petco, Michael's.
And why didn't you think they gave you a positive response? Why didn't they hire you think?
Most of them, they outright told me that it was because of the time that I needed off for my treatments.
So did you specifically tell them that you were going to need time off for your treatments?
Yes, because at the time I was getting it once every 4 months to once every 6 months. And so it was a situation where the trial period or my probation, it was going to fall within my probation. So I had to tell them that I needed off these couple of days.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. All right. So how about driving? Are you driving?
No, not with my eyesight.
So you're never able to regain your full vision back then, huh?
They think that I will be able to, but so far it hasn't happened. It's actually gotten worse.
Okay.
So the last time I drove into a ditch.
Oh, Jesus.
And so,
goodness.
Yeah. So currently the doctor put in my chart that I can't drive. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Lauryn. Oh, all right. So what are you going to college for now? We got to get some positive out of this. We're going to talk about this business thing too. What are you going to college for right now?
Medical coding and billing.
Okay. So will that require that you need your eyesight? Does that require you to use your hands? How are you getting around these things? What do you talk?
It requires eyesight and hands, but most of the jobs are work from home jobs. Most of the hospitals, they're medical coders and billers, they work from home. Okay. And so I'm just trying to do a part-time job. That way I can get my hours and then it's not going to be like a full 9-to-5 type thing.
So you think by doing that, you'll be able to kind of like, but pace yourself? Because will they have a requirement that you're working from a certain time period? Will you be able to, have you investigated whether you'll be able to be like on for maybe a couple hours and off for a couple hours, or have you gotten that far yet?
So I haven't gotten that far yet, but what I have, because I've been like doing little experiments to see how I can work. And what I have seen is that I can work a full shift, but I need rest afterwards.
Yes.
And so it's like, if I have my scheduled hours, I know, okay, I can work from this time to this time, and then I can rest from this time to this time, and then I can get everything else I need to get done.
Perfect. I'm so proud of you, because that's what I'm going to really emphasize. The segment that you're going to be on is going to be the autoimmune segment. Not sure when that's going to air yet, but that's what I'm going to really talk about a lot. The need for the fatigue factor that goes along with this and the need for recovery. So I'm so glad that you have figured that out. You know what I'm saying? I'm so glad that you figured that out. So what do you think as far as business go? What kind of things you think you might be like looking towards or kind of thinking of in the business area, maybe?
So my grandma taught me to crochet when I was really, really young. And she crochets a lot. So we were thinking about starting a business and crocheting like little tiny like trinkets and selling them because we see those in the mall all the time and they're selling them for like $10-$20. So we're like, we can make that in an hour.
Wow.
And so we can have a bunch of them and just sell them.
Yeah. And you know what? You better jump on that because holidays are coming up, girl. You better jump on that. And you can also get you a little website and do it online.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
what we're thinking
order
about
food.
doing.
Yes, I know you can do that, Lauren. That'll be good for you to get that going, girl. Don't wait on that. don't, don't wait on that. Okay, I don't want to run out of time, so at least we got a plan here. So, but talk to me. We've already talked about that doctor who thought you were playing. So, I want to talk a little bit more about traditional medical providers. So, I don't want to put words in your mouth. So, you tell me. Do you think, for the most part, you've had good success, or you think there's just been a few that have like maybe been dismissive or not very accurate, or what's your take on that overall?
So I've come to see that mainly the ones that really are like accurate and care are the ones that I've been seeing for a significant amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So like my pediatric eye doctor,
Mm-hmm.
he was really good because he saw the progression get worse.
Mm-hmm.
My pediatrician and then my primary care now is
Mm-hmm.
like the ones who really are invested.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
That's a good
see
word.
that they have a tendency to be more like to be more understanding and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. The ones where it's just like, oh, I'm a specialist, I have more experience, I've seen these cases all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ones where I'm kind of like, they don't really, they have a tendency to like just bulldoze over you.
Wow, interesting. That's a good
Mm-hmm.
point. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm kind of on the fence about that as well. So I'm glad that you're saying that because I definitely want to put words into your mouth. So I wanted you to tell me first because what I'm already seeing as well across the board with a lot of other people. My daughter also has autoimmune problems and what she has experienced as well. So, but rheumatology is another big area that I feel needs improvement upon. So I'm just kind of just listening to what you're saying. I don't want to like I said, put words in your mouth. So, but anyway, let's get a couple more questions answered here because we have covered a whole lot, and you are definitely a unique example, and I'm so excited that you were willing to come forward and do this because I really feel that just your determination, you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a blessing to many out there. I really do, and that's the whole point of this. It's about trying to educate the public. You know what I'm saying, and trying to help to bring about some change when people maybe are ignorant about in certain areas. But I'm asking this question, and this question sometimes sounds morbid, but your chapter will be also in my book that's going to be coming out sometime, hopefully within a year. And the name of that book is If Only They Knew, because I think people just don't know. So if I had to put you a chapter on you, and it described Lauryn. Like, for example, my brother's going on, but he always said, grace and peace, dear ones. And it's just nice to be nice. If anybody heard that, they knew that was him. Me, I say, it is what it is. I
Mm-hmm.
say that all the time. It is what it is. What would describe you? If somebody saw that, they said, yeah, that's Lauryn. Whether it was your friends, your family, what would you say would describe you?
Well, we have this joke in my family because no matter what happens, we're always joking around, something
That's
bad
good.
happens, we make a joke about it.
That's good. That's good.
But I always say that I'm like a roach. You can't kill me. And so it would probably be, they finally killed the roach.
Oh, no. Jeez. I didn't see that coming. You are funny. I didn't realize how funny you were. Oh my God, I have to put that down. Okay, they finally killed the rooster. Okay. Wow. Okay. So on that note, if you had to make some societal changes, I'm quite sure you've had some difficulty maneuvering in society with your disabilities. And you probably said, somebody should have thought about this and could have done this better. What would be some things that you have noticed and some things you would make suggestions on? And it could be anything in medical field, in the area, the public relationships, anything. What are some suggestions and what are some of your observations?
Definitely in the area of things like handicap areas or the handicap bathrooms. It's like just because you don't physically see a disability, don't assume that this person doesn't have a disability.
Very nice. Very nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. What else? What else?
In this time, a lot of people they're very rushy. Like they go back and forth and they're like trying to do stuff really fast. And it's like when you have health problems, you can't necessarily be as fast as everybody else. So it's like have some grace for other people because it's like not everybody can move at the pace that you move.
Nice. I like that one. I like that one. So basically going in and out of stores or just maneuvering in public, period. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
That and like just in life.
In life.
And sometimes like you may be higher in your career or than somebody who has a health problems because, there's just certain things that they can't do things as quick as you. They can't be as they can't get places as quick as you, like in physical things. And I wouldn't even say mental, but like when you're climbing that ladder, it's harder for people with disabilities.
But I think we can say mental, but I think the word is probably emotional.
Yes.
Because you can only speak to this. I can't speak to this for you, but I can only speak to what I've seen with my daughter and with thousands of others. Every time you have a setback, it emotionally affects you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So you figure you have to now try to recover emotionally as well as your physical stressors. Versus someone else who doesn't have that problem, like you said, they're just moving around home. And so, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the capacity to learn or the capacity to deliver, or you don't have the ability to bring something to the table because you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's where that's where the lack of education and awareness is not there in the public. I really do. Even in the medical field, it's not there. So I like that you said that. I like that. What else do you think you want to share, or what else you want to add? I want you to have the freedom. We got about 5 more minutes. So anything else you want to bring up or talk about, or anything else?
Just that a lot of times people have this general mentality that people with disabilities or health problems are lazy.
Yeah.
And I really, that has been one of my pet peeves for a long time.
Yeah.
Because like even within families sometimes, they don't necessarily fully understand what you go through until they experience it. And it's like, no, we're not lazy. We're just in constant pain. And in order to function most days, we have to take exorbitant amount of pain medicine. And so it's like a lot of times, like in the public and sometimes in the family and within friend groups, it's like, they're like, oh, this person is just lazy. And that's not necessarily the case.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that full-heartedly. I agree with that for sure. Yeah. Well, girl, you're on the right track. I'm going to pray blessings on you with your schooling and with your business to come. I want you to keep the positive attitude. I want you to continue to pace yourself. Continue to advocate for yourself. All these things are going to get you in the right direction. And then you're going to have days where you're going to fall down. You just get back up again. Okay. Thank you so much, Lauryn. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Be blessed, honey. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Once again, thank you, Lauryn, for joining us today. As I mentioned, she is really funny. I just like that. She brings so much to the table as a young woman who is determined to stay on a positive journey despite her disabilities. I believe that many can learn from her, some of her techniques and her story. I'm so passionate about us getting this information out here to promote awareness and promote education with the public and other professionals out there who need to learn some of these things and maybe promote better practices, right? So if you feel you want your story told, please get in touch with us on our website, PamelaGrove.com, and you will see ways to get your email out there so we can get in touch with you. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in today at Let's Achieve Change. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You will find out more about Metanoia Education and Wellness Center on our website at changeachieve.com. We welcome your questions and your feedback. Please feel free to fill out the form on the website and we will contact you directly. I pray that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Remember, it's all about the change. Thank you.